Article 12. Got to present a true picture in your advertising. You know, John, it's interesting to me because some of this stuff I see is all being lumped into misrepresentation. But we have a specific category here for advertising, and that we must present a true picture in our advertising. Article 12, realtors shall be careful at all times to present a true picture in their advertising and representations to the public. Realtors shall also ensure that their professional status, a broker, an appraiser, a property manager, or status as a realtor is clearly identifiable in any such advertising.
Under Standard of Practice 12-1, realtors may use the term free and similar terms in their advertising and in other representations, provided that all terms governing availability of the offered product or service are clearly disclosed at the same time.
You know, the most obvious example here to me is if somebody were offering buyer brokerage services and they advertised that the buyer brokerage services were free. Now, if you've been in the real estate business for any period of time, you know that most of the time the compensation is cooperating compensation from the listing broker, and the buyer doesn't pay for it out of pocket directly to the person that represents them in the transaction. So they could say that, well, I'll represent you in this transaction, it's free. What I have to make is the next statement that says what? The seller's paying me. I'm going to work for you for free because the seller is going to compensate me in this transaction.
Yeah, likewise.
So it's not really free.
No. And in the case interpretations, a similar example is when you say, in trying to get a listing, you say free appraisal. And you indicate that there are going to be no strings attached. There was one case in which the seller said, well, that's really great, got the appraisal. And then for the next 16 days, every day was getting phone calls to list their property with the person that gave them the free appraisal. They finally, complained to the Board of Realtors and had an ethical complaint under Standard of Practice, felt that that really wasn't properly a free service. And it didn't describe it adequately.
But it really cost them. They had to answer the phone over and over and over again because they took advantage of that free appraisal. Standard of Practice 12-2. Realtors may represent their services as free or without cost, even if they expect to receive compensation from a source other than their client, provided that the potential for the realtor to obtain a benefit from a third party is clearly disclosed at the time.
Well, I think you're going to have some issues here as well if there's some connection with a title company or a lender that is going to be giving some type of trade for services in return. I believe that there's going to have to be adequate written disclosure as well under federal and state laws.
Standard of Practice 12-3, the offering of premiums, prizes, merchandise, discounts, or other inducements to list, sell, purchase, or lease is not in itself unethical, even if receipt of the benefit is contingent on listing, selling, purchasing, or leasing through the realtor making the offer. Not unethical in and of itself to offer premiums.
No, and you'll see this sometimes. List with us and we'll give you 100,000 free miles of mileage plus. However, realtors must exercise care and candor in any such advertising or other public or private representation so that any party interested in receiving or otherwise benefiting from the realtor's offer will have a clear, thorough, advanced understanding of all of the terms and conditions of the offer. The offering of any inducements to do business is subject to the limitations and restrictions of state law and the ethical obligations established by any applicable standard of practice. You're going to run across some states, Saul, in which a lottery is not legal. And so if you're setting up your marketing campaign with this with free services and it's going to be by lottery, you would be violating state law. That in turn would run afoul of the standard of practice.